Welcome back, everybody. It is Randy here, finally back for another video. And this week we're doing the PGBL round 1 of the playoffs, PGBL quarterfinals, otherwise known as the PGBL Western Conference semifinal. Now, I know it's been a long time since I've been uploading. I don't have a specific reason for that right now. All I will say is that both leagues, the XBL and the PGBL, kind of slowed down a bit for sure. I'm not sure why. Like I don't have a specific reason. It just happened. So I'll try to get some sort of video updating what's going on in the next couple of days. But just know that stuff has been getting kind of hectic IRL, and I just did my best to just stay on focus for school and stuff like that. So while YouTube hasn't been a huge priority, I haven't really had much motivation. We are back for the playoffs. Hopefully we can finish out these leagues strong. Hopefully grab some championships. And yeah, so as you can tell, we're using my stream layout because I don't really have the time to edit this video right now. So and it will be a post-com, but we will be facing off against JohnnyGB, coach of the Oregon Duckletts. His team, of course, make sure you check out his channel, by the way. He's a really nice guy, really cool dude. He's definitely into the Pokemon scene with the card game and the video game, so definitely worth checking him out. So we have Mechagali, Landorus, Darian, which is one of his Z-move users, Arcanine, Mimikyu, which is another Z-move user, Milotic, Umbreon, Crobat, Manectric, Metagross, and Roserade. So now his team is really well balanced in terms of dishing out decent offense and having decent bulk. Nothing really stands out too crazy offensively, besides, of course, Landorus, Darian, and Gallade being huge shutout sweepers. Mimikyu obviously being probably his easier one to use given its abilities. So, also, side note, we did actually get a new graphics card, so hopefully the video ends up looking pretty good. Although it looks like my camera's lagging a little bit, so hopefully that doesn't look too bad. But hopefully we won't be getting any more glitches, and my render times will be awesome. So, pretty good to note there. Anyway. So, of course, we haven't battled in a while. My last 2 games actually ended up in losses. I lost to the Cincinnati Scissors, and I lost to the Texas Typhlosions. So, in case you're wondering what happened with those, again, we kind of just skipped uploads and just went straight to the playoffs. We did battles, though, so we were caught up. We finished as a 2 seed, so you guys did not miss too much. And I do apologize for not really being committed, but I am going to finish strong. And, yeah, I'm looking to come back with some other content, hopefully, once school starts to lighten up. But I've had time to do stuff. I just haven't put in the time, so I definitely got to put in the time. So go ahead and jump into the team. We have Mew. Go Astros leading the way. I know it's ironic, but I'm an Astro fan, so JohnnyGB loves the Astros, I'm sure. Will-O-Wisp, Ice Beam, Roost, Taunt. Of course, Taunt is there to shut down stuff like Milotic, even though I can't really do much to it. Stuff like Dumbreon and maybe even Mimikyu, depending if I play it right. Ice Beam, of course, is there to hit Landorus, Darian. I can't really hit much else. I can hit Crobat for some decent damage, but if it's like a bulkier set, it doesn't even 2-shot. So, a bit of a riskier set, seeing as how stuff like Mimikyu can set up if he has like a Lumberry or he has Substitute or whatever. That could be kind of a risky thing, although I'm EV to outrun Max Speed Mimikyu, so not the biggest deal in the world. Can't do anything to Arcanine. Arcanine can just Flare Blitz spam me, I guess. Can't Toxic. He can Wisp me if he wants to, but, I mean, Arcanine isn't really that big of a threat to Mew, but I don't really like sets like this that lets, Mon set up for free, but I suppose this kind of shuts down stuff nonetheless. So, next up we have Thundurus, Sub, Nasty Plot, Hidden Power, Ice, and Thunderbolt. This Mon on paper does indeed win. Obviously we get weaken his Manectric quite a bit because I'll need a +2. I mean, +2 HP Ice is like 68% minimum, so obviously that'll be a goal of mine throughout the battle to try to get it low. Gallade dies to +2 T-Bolt. After Rock. Actually, I'm not sure if it dies after Rock. I don't think it does, although I'm not sure about that. But again, on paper, it just does a lot. It outspeeds his entire team except Crobat. So I do expect maybe Scarf Landorus or Scarf Manectric or maybe even Scarf Arcanine. Something that's Scarf to be able to outrun this thing, because even though I do have a predominantly Trick Room team, I feel like Thundurus is way too big of a threat for him not to have a Choice Scarfer. So, that's something I do expect, and I'll be hopefully prepared for that. We have Kurama, the Alolan Ninetales. Now, this mod is also really good offensively. His only 2 ice resists are Metagross and Milotic, and Milotic does take some decent damage from the Freeze Dry, so having Dark Pulse is good to catch. Actually, I was supposed to run Foul Play, but I don't know why I don't have Foul Play. In the battle, I had Dark Pulse. Wow, I'm stupid. Okay, so my bad. Yeah, I should have been Foul Play there, because Foul Play does a lot more, even though I'm max invested. Of course, we got Moonblast there to hit Dumbreon. You got Orville to be able to take hits better from stuff like his, Landorus and his Manectric, even Metagross, stuff like that. Obviously, the Foul Play / Dark Pulse isn't really good on, to beat Metagross, because he could just Bullet Punch me. But in the off chance, I call a switch, that'd be the good thing for that. So that's why I do have that for sure. So next up, we have Shaman running a sub Leech Seed, Seed Flare, Earth Power set. Another annoying set for him to deal with, because the only mons that can break the sub that outrun me are his Manectric, his Crobat, and his potentially Scarf Landorus, and then his Gallade. So a lot of stuff I can set up substitutes on and spam Seed Flare. So it's a pretty dangerous mon that he probably might not expect to be that annoying. So hopefully I can catch him off guard and just start spamming Leech Seed and dropping Spadef with Leech Seed. With Seed Flare. So mon I expect to do a lot of work in this battle. And next up we have Return to Slab, the Cofagrigus. Double status Hex Pain Split. Now this mon is pretty crucial because it's my only real answer to Gallade. And even then, if Gallade gets a +4 as a substitute, I really can't do much to it. I suppose it's good for like a Banded Arcanine, or like, good to check the Landorus somewhat. But obviously if they have sub, then it's not going to be useful at all. So I'm taking kind of a gamble with this set. But nonetheless, it is good glue for my team, given that my team has a bit of some frail mons like Thundurus and Ninetales in it. So hopefully he could do some work and just start spamming status. Obviously you saw Wisp on my Mew, so hopefully if I burn some things I can start spamming Hex, and hopefully I can deal some damage throughout the game. And finally we have Cam, the Mega Camera, running Rocks and Earth Power, Flamethrower, and Will-O-Wisp. Don't know why I'm at Magma Armor. I should have Solid Rock, or what? I think it's Solid Rock. I think, I'm not sure. I can't remember. But anyway, so yeah, it's a pretty good mon. It checks Mimikyu if he's not at +6. It checks Mimikyu somewhat because Mimikyu's so weak and can wrap up some bulk. Obviously, I could have probably taken advantage of that and put a lot more bulk into defense, but having strong stab is useful against him. Even though I don't have Trick Room, and even though he has stuff like Landorus and Milotic, it's still a decent mon for me just to get up damage off. Spam Wisp, of course, for my Cofagrigus. And then, of course, getting up Rocks is nice to be able to wear down that Landorus, maybe Arcanine, and even his Milotic as well. So, probably one of the mons I could have probably swapped for something else like Hariyama, or maybe even Araquanid. But I felt that this was a good mon for, just overall a check to Mimikyu and, just hopefully get up Rocks. So that is the team. Shout out to Youngster Bill for building the team. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the PGBL Western Conference semifinal game. Or you can just call it round 1 playoffs, quarterfinals, because we still have, it's potentially a 3-round playoff. So, as long as we don't get first rounded. So we have the team preview here. Of course, you saw the 6 I brought, and he actually decided to go with Manectric, Landorus, Mimikyu, Milotic, Dumbreon, and a Mega Gallade. So right off the back, I see no Metagross, which is really useful for me, so I don't have to worry about Ninetales getting revenge killed every time it comes in. I see Manectric and Landorus, thinking it's probably either a Scarf Manectric or a Scarf Landorus. Probably a Scarf Manectric, because Landorus is probably going to be Rocks with the Intimidate for the Stack Attacker. Although he could be Scarf Rocks, which is something I thought about in my head, because it could be something to throw me off for later to be able to revenge kill my Thundurus or even my Ninetales. So I did keep that in mind at preview. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't, some weird set that can potentially just throw me off. Of course, he has the Mimikyu because, it's a beast. If it gets up a few sword stances, it wins the game, so I got to be careful with that. Milotic, of course, kind of predictable. It's still not a fence, but obviously with Camera up, he can always come in and go for Scald, so that's not really a good thing for me. Dumbreon to hold down the fort. Really a mon that's annoying for me, because the only mons that can deal with it are my Ninetales, my Shaman, and my Thundurus. And my Shaman needs to be healthy for that to work out, and so does my Thundurus, because Foul Play does like 42% minimum to Thundurus, so I can't necessarily set up for free in front of that thing, so got to be careful around that thing and don't let my mons die early, or else it will just stall the entire team. And then finally his Mega Gallade, which of course is a pretty big threat, close combat, hits like a truck. It probably one-shots my Ninetales and does a lot to my other mons. Cofagrigus has to stay healthy for that reason, and so does Mew, so hopefully that all works out. So at team preview, I figure my best lead would be the Ninetales, because it forces out most of his squad, bar the Gallade. Mimikyu probably would have been iffy about. I'm not sure what I would have done with that. I probably would have got up Veil if it led with that, because even then it's kind of weak. So yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this battle. And I gotta say, guys, it's pretty wild. So just buckle up. It's a pretty good one. We got JohnnyGB, Oregon Duckletts against the Rangers. Here we go. So again, like I said, I lead Kuruma. He leads my Manectric. You know, obviously, I expect this thing to be Lightning Rod to be able to check my Thunderous, whether I'm physically offensive or especially offensive. So I do expect them to be Scarf. I don't want to take any damage. I don't want to risk a Scarf overheat, you know, bopping me turn 1. Now, I could have went my camera up here. Definitely should have went camera up, because even if he had HP Water, like, he would have got me good, right? So, like, it would have just been a good play. It wouldn't have be a bad play for me to switch in. So, definitely a misplay on my part, you know, immediately. So, he does go hard in Mimikyu. So now it's kind of a 50-50. If he substitute, I'm going to be faster anyway. So I went ahead and went straight for the Wisp, because this thing is a huge threat. So it's nice that I burned this thing. The only possibility is he could have Lumberry or he could be special. But he's got the Lumberry. So right here, I was like, okay, he's at +2. This is not good. Now I'm at another predicament. Should I go for another burn, or should I break his disguise? Now, I ultimately decide that I should break his disguise, because I need to be able to bring a camera up and revenge kill this thing. So I do go for the Ice Beam and break his disguise. Now, I probably should have went for the Will-O-Wisp, because I would have really made this thing not that useful, and I could have broken the disguise and had him burn, as opposed to just letting him have a +4 attack with no really drawback, because he's not burned. So definitely should have burned him, because I definitely would have lived a +4 Shadow Sneak while burned. So definitely a misplay on my part. So here he does go for the sneak and knocks out my Mew. So Mew goes down turn like 4. So not a good start for me. So now I have to bring in my camera up and hope that my Flamethrower does kill. Keep in mind that I did drop Fire Blast for Flamethrower right before this battle. So probably not a good thing, because Fire Blast would easily have destroyed this. But nonetheless, I'm running Modest Nature. I have near max special attack. So definitely should knock out this Mimikyu, all at the cost of taking a Shadow Claw, which I do tank 100% of the time, even if he's adamant. So I'm not worried about, you know, getting killed, because all he has to do is not crit me, and luckily he doesn't. So go for the Flamethrower, and unfortunately he barely lives, and Hail goes away. So that's really bad. So he does reveal Drain Punch there. So we do see he is rocking 3 attacks: Play Rough, Shadow Claw, SD. And actually, he doesn't have Play Rough. That's interesting to note, because he had Drain Punch for Drampo. So good tech on his part. So do you go on the Shaman, because Shaman is the only mon I want to take a +4 Shadow Sneak. It does take it rather comfortably. So not a good start for me. We're down 0-2 right now, so down 4-6. But we do pick off the Mimikyu and get that out of the way. So now I'm kind of, you know, in the back seat now, even though it's 4-5. But, you know, Shaman is pretty good here. The only mon that realistically scares me out is Gallade. But he goes on Umbreon here, which, you know, allows me to get up a substitute, which is good. Because if you went Gallade, I would have probably made the call to maybe switch or stay in. Not sure what it would have been yet, but kind of surprised he didn't go Gallade yet. Although he wasn't sure if I was Scarf or not. But even then, Earth Power wasn't that much anyway. So he does opt to go into his Dumbreon, and I go for substitute. He goes for Wish, and I can just fire off a nice Leech Seed to get off some extra recovery. And if he wants to foul play, if he wants to maybe even roar, you know, that's fine with me. Although I do want my Shaman relatively healthy, at least be able to get up a sub. That way I can get up sub against this thing, because Shaman does 1v1 this, because I will eventually get a Spadef drop on it. So Shaman is definitely very important. It's also important to deal with his Milotic. So I get up my juicy recovery with that Leech Seed and leftovers, pretty much back to where I was, you know, before I subbed, almost there. I see foul play and broke my sub. He has that Wish going for him. So here I do end up going for the Seed Flare. Now I can get off some massive damage on if he wants to switch out, or actually I go for sub. My bad. I went for substitute. So go for the sub, calling him to switch, or maybe just go for a protect. So it wasn't really a big prediction on my part. So here I believe I do go for the Seed Flare right here, because I can't remember if I went for a Leech Seed or Seed Flare. And this battle happened like not even like 3 hours ago, so I can't even remember. So I think I ended up going for the Seed Flare here. I go for the Seed Flare because I want damage on this thing. And I remember because I actually do miss the Seed Flare, which is pretty huge, because now we don't know any information about this Landorus. We don't know if it's Spadef, we don't know if it's AV. But I do go for a Seed Flare. I do connect here, and I do clean 2-shot this Landorus, no crit. So if I would have hit the first one, I would have been able to grab a kill essentially on the next turn. So kind of big, but he does end up going for the Earthquake here. So this pretty much tells me that either he felt bad for me, or he just doesn't have U-turn. So kind of surprised he didn't go for Rocks though. If he had Rocks, I'm pretty sure he would have had Rocks on this thing, but I'm not too entirely sure. So I do decide to go for the. I think I go for Sub here. I'm not too sure though. No, I'll go for Seed Flare again. I go for Seed Flare because I remember now because I missed again. So that's huge because getting off that damage on Gallade would have been amazing because I would have been able to, you know, take advantage of that later on potentially. So obviously I could have subbed there too. It would have been the same thing. Because then I get a free Seed Flare, but you know I didn't make the play, so kind of bad on my part. So now it's in. I don't have a switch in. I went hard Cofagrigus because I'm pretty sure I do take a +2 knockoff, but I actually don't. That's something I have to keep in mind because as you see here, the regular knockoff does quite a bit of damage. So if he had went for SD there, I probably could have been in really bad shape, but luckily he didn't, and I already take the max damage knockoff, so I will live another one. So I decided to go for the Pain Split here. I could have went for like a Will-O-Wisp or maybe even Toxic, but I opted to just go for Pain Split to get on my HP because I need the HP to be able to check that thing when it's not at +4 or +6 or whatever. So here's my Melodic, expecting Will-O-Wisp. Good play on his part. He's got the Marvel Scale, which is pretty nice because this thing actually walls my Thundurus if I'm physical. So good thing I did not bring physical because I would have been screwed otherwise. So do go hard Kurama here because I don't want my Cofagrigus to get scald burned or even toxic. So he does end up going for the Ice Beam, which is a pretty good middle ground play on his part because he knows Scald won't do that much to my Shaman. So pretty middle ground play. So my Melodics taking some good damage, burn, and the Hail. So here I decided to go for the Freeze Dry. And the Freeze Dry does barely two-shot, or close, it's pretty good two-shot, not, barely. So he does go for the Scald there. He did tell me later on he had Mirror Coat, so it was a 50-50 that I guess I got that right there. I probably should have went for Auraveil first, but seeing as how little that Auraveil did, I'm glad I did Auraveil because then I wouldn't have been able to kill Milotic. So Milotic does go down. So we are slowly catching back up. We took down Milotic after we had to take down his Mimikyu. So now we're all tied up at 4-4. Brings in Gallade here. Don't have a switch in, so I end up making the play and going for Moonblast as he does go for SD. And this is a pretty huge play because, like I said earlier, if I had got that Seed Flare off, this thing would have been dead. But would he have stayed in if I had hit the Seed Flare? He would have. I mean, what I meant to say is, would he have SD'd? He probably wouldn't have SD'd. He probably would have went straight for the Zen Headbutt or the potential Drain Punch, which we do see here. Now, knowing that he's Drain Punch now makes me feel a bit better because I think Ninetales can take a Drain Punch without him having SD. So that's a pretty good thing to note later on. Although I'm not sure the Calc, because I probably do die to it anyway. I'm not sure. So do go for the Hex here. If I had Shadow Ball, it would have been a clean 2-shot, but Hex does around like 35%. So not too bad damage. Shadow Ball would have been close to 2-shot. So kind of unfortunate I didn't bring it. So he goes for T-Bolt. Gets a crit. Kind of sucks, but I'm pretty sure 2-shot anyway, so not the biggest deal in the world. It would have been cool if I went for Pain Split, though, but anyway, so just let off my Cofagrigus die, and he actually goes for the Volt Switch there, which is pretty huge because now I know for sure he's not Scarf. Pretty questionable play, I would say, but I guess he wanted the initiative, so he opts to go on the Landorus, and I kind of feel like he did this to bait out my Ninetales because if I go Ninetales is the only mon I can deal with his Umbreon comfortably. So I go Thundurus first because at this point Thundurus is looking pretty good. We know he's not Scarf Landorus. He's not going to be Spadef because he took so much from his Seed Flare. So we do pick it off with the HBI. He's not Yachi Berry. He goes into Gallade, which is a bit of a questionable play as well. So go for the T-Bolt. I'm not afraid of Manectric coming in because he is in range of HP Ice. And I do pick off the Gallade. And next he brings in Dumbreon. And at this point, all I have to do is just get some Nasty Plots up, and I win the game. So go straight for the Nasty Plot. If he foul plays, not the biggest deal in the world. All I have to do is not Z-move his Manectric, and I should be fine, because I do have Z Thunderbolt on this thing. So and I'm not afraid of him going into it on a hard Thunderbolt, because like I said, +2 HP Ice will kill. So here, I expect him to either Protect or Baton Pass, or switch into his not Baton Pass, but just go hard Manectric. So I do go for the sub here because even if he passes the Wish off, I can go for another Nasty Plot and one-shot him with the HP Ice after his recovery. As long as he has an AV, that could be something to note there. But I do have my substitute up, so it doesn't really matter. So He goes for the Nasty Plot, or I go for Nasty Plot, my bad, and I'm at +4 special attack. He's probably going to break the sub with a Thunderbolt or a Volt Switch or whatever the case may be, as he goes for the Hidden Power, and it isn't Ice, so that's probably HP Water for the camera because a crit breaks my sub. Don't really think it matters at all because I just go for the HP Ice here and knock out the Manectric. So this means that Dumbreon is his final Pokemon, and all we have to do is click Z Thunderbolt. I went for Z Thunderbolt in case he protected. That way it would do some damage to the Protect, and I could one-shot him with the Thunderbolt afterwards. So I didn't need to do it, you know, for to rub it in. I just did it because I would be able to kill him for sure without it being able to do some weird shenanigans. I mean, I would have won anyway. Like, I don't think there's any way he could have possibly brought this back. So with that being said, the Rangers pick up a 3-0 victory against the Oregon Duckletts, meaning we are moving on to the PGBL Western Conference Championship, in which we made last year, but we got hacked out. So hopefully we get revenge. I'm not sure who's going to be yet. I'm hoping that Nick, Reckless Bat, can upset Josh, because I do not want to play Josh again. Even though I lost to Nick, I think I can have a pretty good rematch against him if I get another shot at him. But I don't want to play Josh again because last year he hacks the hell out of me, so hopefully we avoid him. I mean, we did split the series 1-1 in the regular season. So, yeah, just talk about that game there. Some of the big plays there were, of course, the Seed Flare misses sucked a little bit because if I had hit that first Seed Flare against Landorus, he would have either sacked his Landorus off or he would have swapped in something else because this is a matter of did he value Landorus or not. He probably didn't value it at all, probably. Seeing as how camera up was down, I had Ninetales, Cofagrigus, walls it. So, let's say he sacks Landorus, then I keep my sub intact. And then from there, he has to make a decision. Does he go into his Manectric? Does he go into his Gallade? Does he go into his Dumbreon? We don't know. But at that point, I'm sitting in good position, So that kind of sucked a little bit. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying about, just general, positioning throughout the game. Obviously, him Swords Dancing. Also missing the Seed Flare with Gallade, but obviously that probably wouldn't have been a big deal if I hit the first Seed Flare. So let's not talk about the second Seed Flare miss. But anyways, it would have been cool anyway to get damage off. But him staying in Swords Dancing on my Ninetales was pretty huge. Again, at that point, I didn't know if he was close combat or Drain Punch. All I know is that if he would have killed Ninetales with CC, going in and Cofagrigus was always a safe play. So that would have been okay with me because I would know I could take a knockoff. So perhaps it was my best play to stay in, because if you got off a SD and I switched into Cofagrigus, the game was over. Because I would have had to have Z Thunderbolted his Gallade. I'm not even sure if that kills either, so that's something to note as well. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much the huge plays of the game right there. Johnny and I talked about it. He said he felt he misplayed on those turns, and it's hard to say for sure. It was 50-50 more or less. So of course, good game as well. Hell of a game. We came out of a hole. That early 4-6 hole, we did come back and win this game. So I guess this pretty helps my confidence because, I had to rely on Trick Room most of the season, but now I can just rely on just keeping my win cons alive. And, yeah, hopefully we can play Nick next week because I do not want to play Josh. His team is pretty crazy, but I'm confident we can play well against him and hopefully redeem ourselves from last year and make our trip to the finals. So again, hope you guys enjoyed and be on the lookout for the XBL finals, which should be up hopefully sometime soon. I don't know yet, man. It's been crazy. Again, I'm gonna try to get a video out explaining what's going on, but with all that being said, thank you all for watching, and hopefully this video renders fast because of this new graphics card. So yeah, go Rangers.